Welcome to the 2024 Traveller Mayday Mayday event. I'm your host, Frank Succardi from Cyborg Prime Games. We have with us today Mr. Omer Golan-Joel of Stellagama Publishing. Omer, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you and what do you do?
I am a freelance translator and editor from Israel. I also do content writing for all kinds of business sites as my day job. And in the past 8 years, I'm publishing all sorts of role-playing game material. As part of Stellagama Publishing, I published 2 additional products before that through other publishers. And I'm slowly moving towards making the RPGs my main business.
Fantastic.
But it takes time because still there are bills to pay, and sometimes I think I could already cover half my expenses from RPGs.
Hey, that's great.
RPG earnings.
So this is the 6th year. I think you've been with us since the very first year, so thanks a lot for that.
Yes,
I
you're
appreciate
welcome.
I appreciate your support. So in that time, you've been hoping to go full time, and so now you're about at about half your income. You say that's a
Yes,
pretty good chunk of money.
yes, I'm halfway there, I think.
Fantastic.
Eventually, I will make it my main job.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I still have to do all kinds of legal translation and content writing,
Right.
unfortunately. But still, it's my dream job after all.
You have
Writing RPGs, I was dreaming about this for years.
you have quite a few titles. Do you know how many titles you have in your catalog?
I don't know the exact number offhand. It's about 30, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Not including for other systems. That is, we have for Stars Without Number and OSE and several other rule sets, not only Cepheus
I see.
or Traveller.
So, for your own product line, though, you have your own engine, the Quantum engine.
We have the Quantum engine. We'll soon have the Nomad engine, which is an upgrade of the Quantum engine. It's quite different in several ways. I think by Mayday we will already be very close to the release of FTL Nomad, which is our own in-house sci-fi RPG, which is quite different from Cepheus or Traveller. It's still 2d6, but not only 2d6. It is dice pool mechanic and several other things. We're working on it, but we are also very much involved in the Cepheus crowd. Also, I think we will soon be able to publish material for Traveller itself.
Oh,
Uh, there is a
fantastic.
there is a new license by Mongoose Publishing,
Uh-huh.
and we will soon publish a few supplements and test the waters. I'm hoping for very good sales and entering a new market.
Yeah, best of luck. That would be awesome. Yeah, I've heard about their new licensing. I guess they have 3 tiers, like a fair use, and then their TAS, and then like the Traveller compatible, right?
Yes, I'm
Mm-hmm.
going to publish compatible products.
Uh-huh.
We were in negotiations, not only me, but several Cepheus publishers. We were in negotiations with Mongoose Publishing for over a year, and we ended up with a license. I think that all of us we will be quite pleased with, and I'm very positive about this.
Oh, good. Yeah, because there was that last year at this time. There was the D&D Open OGL
Yes, the OGL
fiasco.
Apocalypse.
Yeah,
Yes.
and that cost them a lot. That hit them hard. They lost a lot of customers, and they had to postpone their movie and yeah, all kinds of stuff to try to recover from that. I don't even think they have fully recovered. A lot of people have abandoned ship on the D&D over that licensing issue.
Yes. it's the main threat to Wizards of the Coast. The reason they backed off was that people began canceling their subscriptions to various services.
All right.
This
To
made them
their
change their minds.
D&D Beyond or whatever it is. I'm not sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was. They understood that they made a huge mistake. They might repeat it. It's a very competitive world out there. But right now, I think we're in a very good place, both for Cepheus and Traveller and our newer products.
Fantastic. Uh, I think all my dealings with Mongoose have been fair and good, and Matthew Springe has always treated me well. So I wish Mongoose and the indie developers who are working under those licenses all the best. Fantastic. That's great news. So so you have this the quantum engine, and then you have the
The new
Nomad.
Nomad system.
Right.
I think because our interview is about Traveller Day, I will touch it only a bit. Touch the matter of FTL Nomad only a bit because it's a different subject. I
Sure,
think.
sure.
It's it's a D6 system. It's not only 2D6. There is a dice pool mechanic which controls difficulty.
Okay.
And it also uses much simpler character generation, doesn't have life path systems, has very different ship design systems. It's quite different from Traveller. It might be inspired by it in terms of spirit, but not. But the mechanics are different, and the universe it depicts is quite different as well. A bit harder science, I think.
Okay. And then you also developed for Stars Without Number and Cepheus Deluxe as well?
Cepheus Deluxe is still our main rule set. We published several materials for it. There is a Terra Arisen setting, and recently we published a mini campaign for it, the Starlight Caper.
Okay.
Which is an espionage and crime mini campaign set on a luxury cruise ship going around the Terra Arisen universe. It's by Josh Peters, and it's an excellent mini campaign with all the tables you have for replayability and a very cool setting. Lots of NPCs, lots of material. You could also use that book to generate NPCs and passengers for your trader if you want. It's very cool. I sent you the link for it.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yes, it's for Cepheus Deluxe. It's compatible quite well with other Cepheus products, other Cepheus rule sets, but it's for Cepheus Deluxe especially. We are publishing The Sword of Cepheus second edition, which will be in Kickstarter right now when we're recording it. It will be in production when this will be when on Mayday it will still be in production. It's a fantasy and swords and sorcery rule set, completely renewed and expanded. The Sword of Cepheus is a Mithril bestseller, so it's something a lot of people are looking forward to, the second edition.
Yeah, congratulations on the success of that, because it's like 2 years old? A year old?
It's more than that. It's 4 years.
Oh, is it? Oh, God, time flies for me.
Yes.
Oh well. Oh well, cool. I wish you the best on the new edition. I love
Thanks.
the cover and stuff. It looks great. When you have these settings or rule sets that are based on Cepheus Engine, does the user have to have a copy of Cepheus Engine, and then this is like stacked on top, or is Cepheus, like the Cepheus rules, kind of included in your products, or or is it like a hybrid of both, where you have to have the original rules, but then yours stack on top and supplement them, or how does that work exactly when you're developing with Cepheus Engine?
Cepheus Deluxe is standalone, and so is the Sword of Cepheus. Both of them are standalone products. You don't need to own anything else. They are based on the old Cepheus SRD, but with very significant changes. So they're their own products
I see.
in this case.
Okay, cool. So no need to own any additional stuff.
No,
Okay,
we have supplements for them, but originally we had the previous version of Terra Arisen, which was called These Stars Are Ours, which was for Cepheus Engine SRD, but now it's for Cepheus Deluxe.
gotcha.
Even our setting is for it, and we are updating our products to Cepheus Deluxe
I see.
and to Traveller. Several of our products will have Traveller compatible versions for Mongoose Traveller.
Oh, cool. Because they're already like very close. They would just need minor editing.
Not very close in
Oh,
most cases. Mechanically, we'll have to do a lot of stuff. But for example, we have the UFOs book, which has 8 starships with deck plans inspired by classic UFO shapes. And translating it to Mongoose Traveller Second Edition is not very difficult because we only have to redo the ship stats. Most of the book is deck plans, which do not change significantly.
oh yeah, right. Okay.
But it will be our first product for Mongoose Traveller.
So tell us a little bit more about Cepheus Deluxe Enhanced Edition. What are major differences between it and other rule sets like it?
It's quite modernized. That is, we listen to our playtesters, and for example, we have non-random character generation in addition to random character generation.
Uh-huh. That's good.
The non-random system is by default. The random system is a free supplement. So you have both worlds to choose from. It has its own ship and vehicle combat system, which is mapless and based on chase. That is, you don't need miniatures, anything for starship combat or for vehicle combat. But on the other hand, you have special actions for each bridge station on a starship during combat. We have our own armor rules, which are simplified and quite streamlined. I think they work faster than the rules in Mongoose Traveller's first edition or the Cepheus Engine SRD. We have a streamlined skill system. We have a lot of gameplay examples in the rules. This is, I think, one of our trademark, you could say, elements. Is every rulebook we put out, every major rulebook we put out, we have examples of how to use the rules. This is Cepheus SRD doesn't have, but we have.
So, in examples of how to use the rules, would those be like, like live gameplay like playouts, like how they used to have in like a D&D book, where the first person does this and it kind of plays out a little scenario, or how does yours work?
Yes.
Okay.
For various systems, that is, we have a combat example, character generation example, starship combat example, of course, against pirates, and all sorts of world generation example. So the players and referees could actually read and see how things are supposed to work.
I like that because a lot of times it's just left up to your imagination and you're not really sure if you're a newcomer. I think that's a good what I want to say, like, aspect for new players coming to the game, because you can see how the designer intended the combat round to go. Because stuff can get really complicated. I mean, in these games, you're like, add 2 if they're on a box, and take 2 away if they're in a valley, and add 3 if it's raining. And it's like, oh, holy cow, there's so many things to keep track of, and you might misunderstand, or whatever. And so having that's like what I want to say, like a good user experience. That's good to cater to your players like that. Show them how exactly to do the thing. I like that. And I also like that you have non-random character generation, because that can be a sticking point to new players. That's something like Mongoose had to stay with, because that's part of Traveller. But indies don't have to do that.
Yes, it's one of the advantages we have is that we don't have to stick to certain canon. If you are selling something called Traveller, unless it's GURPS or another completely different system, you need random character generation. It's part of the franchise,
Right.
part of the trademark.
Right.
So because we are Cepheus and we're not required to do it, so we have both systems.
Right.
Because a lot of players, I was told that many players, when you ask them what is Traveller, people who are not into Traveller specifically, say, "Oh, it's that game where you could die in character generation." It's something which has very good reasons to be included in the rules originally. But I even wrote a blog post about it. But it's a turn-off to many people, unfortunately. We still have injury and cybernetics and depth for cybernetics in the rules.
And do you still
But
have like a life path, this sort of thing, even though you're only on one
yes,
path, one career path, or whatever, however many the person wants to do, I guess,
it's a life path with better control by default for the player, so they can have these characters they want. With several caveats. That is, you still have events, and they could sometimes cause you injury, and then you have to correct that injury with cybernetics, and then you have to pay for them and things like that.
Gotcha. That's awesome. All right. So
Yes,
you want to talk about Terra Arisen a little bit?
yes, it's our main setting. It's a space opera setting where an alien empire conquered Earth, and Earth, which we call Terra in this setting, rebelled, and we became a very young interstellar power. And this is set after the war, so there are all kinds of Cold War maneuvers and commerce and exploration, and a lot of opportunities for adventure.
Awesome.
So it's very open settings. That is, we have an open frontier on one side of the map and a very dangerous border on the other side. So, and between them, it's about several weeks of travel. So about 2 or 3 months of travel. So you could jump between areas and campaign types in the same campaign.
And that looks like that's a gold bestseller. So you're doing pretty well.
Yes, thank you.
Fantastic. Do you have a lot of expansion modules for Terra Arisen?
Yes, some of them are still for the previous version, so we are updating them slowly. We have the UFOs book I spoke about. We're going to have a Belter supplement, which is both for Cepheus Deluxe and for Terra Arisen. It's right now. It's called Uranium Fever, and it's right now for Cepheus Engine SRD, but we are updating it. And we have the Starlight Caper adventure. We have a supplement of stationery and logos and everything if you want to spice up your own handouts.
Oh,
I
that's cool.
think every setting should have it. It doesn't sell too well, but it's a very good thing to have.
I see. I see. One of the titles is the bestiary of cryptofauna and flora.
This is for other systems. It's especially for old school sessions. It's for you could say a retro clone of basic and expert D&D.
I see. Hmm.
Which is it's an excellent bestiary with full color illustrations. We are now working on the second bestiary by the same artist.
So let's talk about some other stuff. I noticed you have let's talk about the Starlight Caper. Can you talk about it without giving away any spoilers?
Yes, it's set on interstellar luxury cruise ship, where some kind of artifact is being transported across a border with during a Cold War. So there are a lot of tensions, especially in matters of espionage and of crime involved in it. And every station on this journey, it's a cruise tour, so you have a safari station in one world, and you're visiting colonies in another, and you're doing a lot of things. Meanwhile, weird things are happening on the ship. So there are a lot to do. And as I said earlier, one part of this is that we have tables for generating passengers and crew. So you could simply use this for your own campaign, even without using this mini campaign, simply to generate passengers for your free trader if you want.
Oh, cool.
Setting the setting. Uh, we have full deck plans for the cruise ship, which is
Mm-hmm.
quite large, which is also useful in other campaigns, even other systems.
That's
Uh,
almost it's like almost 100 pages. That's pretty hefty.
yes, it's a mini campaign.
Mm-hmm.
It's full scale.
I see the Cepheus Deluxe Galaxy software. That looks pretty cool. That helps you map out
Yes,
subsectors, or
it helps you map subsectors for Cepheus Deluxe World Generation.
all right. And then so that's what you've been up to since the last time we saw you. What do you have planned for the coming year aside from the Kickstarter?
Other than a Kickstarter, we're again working on supplements for Mongoose Traveller under the new license. There may also be a fantasy expansion for Mongoose Traveller under the compatibility license, which will be different from Sword of Cepheus. It will be its own thing. I think that it will be very well received, especially if you could simply mesh it with your own sci-fi campaign and have space wizards and things like that,
Hmm.
and fight goblins on this or that planet, and so on.
Cool. Yeah,
And
sounds awesome.
we are yes, and we are converting our supplements both to Cepheus Deluxe from the old Cepheus SRD and in some cases to Mongoose Traveller.
Yes, and I like the your idea for the different kinds of heraldry and things for the stationery. All super creative, great ideas.
Second, I will even send you the link for it.
I
Uh,
think all these little things like that, really add to the immersion of the game.
if you want handouts which look like official documents, you could have them. From the setting, we have all the heraldry ready, how all the medals look and things like that. We didn't yet create fantasy money for our system like some people did for official traveler, I think.
Mm.
But I think we'll do it as well. Uh,
How did you come up with the different heraldry designs?
I found an artist who was very interested in the setting. I hired him, and much of it is his work.
Did he? I can't tell from the thumbnails, but did he do things like it just take like medieval heraldry and then futurize
No,
it, or
it's more modern heraldry.
okay,
Symbols befitting a modern government and military units and things like that.
I see, I see. All right, cool.
Most of the work is by Axel Lofring, but there are other artists as well.
Being an indie game designer is hard work. What made you decide to get into it, and what made you stick with it?
It's maybe hard work, but it's very rewarding work and it's very fun to do. Unlike other kinds of work I did in my life. Simply you could do whatever you want. You could use your imagination, be creative, and being self-employed means I control my own time. Quality game design takes time. That is, you can't just put out products once or twice a month quite easily if you are working on your own, even if you're working full time, because things have to be playtested and edited. But still, it's very rewarding.
What aspect is it? Just the creative process that you like most, or do you like drawing maps, or do you like writing lore, or do you like developing
I,
mechanics? What's the thing you wish you could do all day long?
I really like both creating worlds and creating mechanics. I do a lot of world building in my settings. I'm less proficient in adventure design, but I have other partners in Stellagama Publishing doing that. Like the Starlight Caper, it's by George Peters. He's an expert on this in editing and in adventure design. Uh, I think that we are doing this quite well. There will be also new settings for our Nomad engine, but it's another subject. I really like creating universes and worlds with their own power dynamics and politics and factions and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, it's good to it's good to be in a position where you can do something you love and be rewarded. I wish everybody could have a job like that.
Yes.
um yes. All right. So let's see. Let's touch a little bit on sort of Cepheus. Not exactly Traveller Day, but it's Traveller adjacent via Cepheus. um
Yes.
so this is going to be, is this your second Kickstarter?
And no, it's my third Kickstarter. The
Third?
first one was for Cepheus Deluxe Enhanced Edition.
Mm-hmm.
The second was for the second edition of Barbaric, which is a quantum engine game.
Okay.
And this is my third. I'm doing this with a partner in the United States, which is Menagerie Press, because you have to be, I think, a US resident to use Kickstarter, or at least you can do it. You can do it only for several Western countries. So I have a partner who handles paperwork and other administrative matters, and he also is also a fan of Sword of Cepheus. We met due to Sword of Cepheus,
Oh, cool.
actually. He used his SRD to create his own game, so after that I contacted him and we started working on Kickstarters.
Hey, that's awesome. Building a community around your products is really great way to
Yes.
network and meet a bunch of cool people that you never would have met before, and then you form partnerships like this. So, I mean, that's great. You're lucky. Well done.
Great.
Yeah. Let's see. What's the major difference between first and second edition Sword of Cepheus?
We revamped everything. That is, first of and foremost, it's compatible directly with Cepheus Deluxe, rather than earlier versions of Cepheus. So you could simply take all the rules you want from there and have sorcery in your Cepheus Deluxe game, or use starships in sort of Cepheus if you want. Very easy. You could mash them very easily with each other. We have a new magic system. We are distancing ourselves from the from older D20 SRD material we use quite a lot in the first edition. Now we'll have a much newer and distinct flavor for ourselves. There are no more spell tiers and levels, and instead all spells are powerful and all magic dangerous and things like that. We're also changing on the magic items. We're making monsters much more readable. In the first edition, monsters had the UPPs, the digit strings, like in Traveller,
Uh-huh.
and we are getting rid of it because a lot of our players don't get it quite easily. You have to learn how to read it, and it's a stumbling block for too many
Yes.
people.
Yeah. You mean like the hexadecimal code?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's very good when you know how to use it
Right.
because it lets you read the monster very quickly, but you
Mm-hmm.
have to learn how to use it.
Right. And it lets
So
you
we are
have also 2 digits in one slot. So I mean, it
yes,
keeps it short and sweet. But yeah, no, that is a hassle.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's again we are going to have a non-random character generation. Again, you can create the character you really want, and an appendix with a random system for people who want to gamble a bit with the character. As a stretch goal, we are going to have super science technology for your sword and planet gaming. If you want, flying ships and blasters and things like that in your game, you will have the rules for them. Once this is funded, we are going to include more non-human races and species in the main rules. We are going to expand the equipment section. Everything is getting revamped and expanded.
Awesome.
It's going to be even better.
Let's talk about your magic system for a second because it sounds like it's unique. Is it mana based or some other
No,
no
it's skill based.
skill based?
That
Okay,
is, you could cast as many spells as you want on paper, but every time you cast, you have a risk of critical failure, which is very unpleasant. And casting a spell takes 10 minutes unless you really rush it and take even greater risks.
I see.
So a very powerful sorcerer will be able to cast a lot of spells, but still they still risk using them. You don't
I
just
see.
cast spells lightly. In sword and sorcery literature, people don't just throw magic missiles around like in Dungeons and Dragons.
Right. Is there a way to mitigate any of those effects, like through like a talismans or like I don't know, magic
The first
batteries
edition
or
had
things that maybe either help you recover from the spell failure or maybe reduce the chances of it or
the first edition had, but we're removing it because it made magic too safe.
gotcha.
There's, it's even in folklore and legend and mythology, spells are not something safe.
Or
Magic
something
is
that comes
always
free, right? So it has a
it
cost.
doesn't come
Uh,
free. It has a cost. It's dangerous even if you're a powerful sorcerer. On the other hand, we increase the power level of all the spells. So now you could do a lot of powerful stuff, but you risk a lot. That is, you could have, for example, you could attract a demon. You can attract giant insects. You could mutate. A lot of things could happen if you cast too many spells and take too many risks.
hmm. Does any of those risks bleed over to your companions, or is it just personal risk?
Depends. Usually it's personal risk, but you could also have an explosion or things
Oh,
like
right,
that to
gotcha.
your companions.
I see. Cool. All right. Is there any other like sci-fi topic that you're interested in that you'd like to talk about?
Generally, I'm also interested in cyberpunk gaming.
Oh, uh-huh.
At least more recently, I even I managed to find the beginner box for Cyberpunk Red, which is out of print and took me quite a while to get someone who could ship it to me. But I think Cyberpunk Red is quite interesting. I will try it out quite soon. Um, it's a leading cyberpunk system. So
You're familiar with Shadowrun?
of course I played
Yes.
it for years.
So how does the
Uh,
cyberpunk one thing I really liked about Shadowrun was their management of the Matrix. I thought their vision for how the Matrix worked was cool. How does
the
cyberpunk handle that?
Cyberpunk handles it a bit simpler in the new edition, in the Cyberpunk Red. In the previous editions, it looked like Shadowrun. It was a dungeon crawl, essentially, like Shadowrun second or third edition.
Right. Okay.
The problem with hacking or decking in Shadowrun and all Cyberpunk was that it's a very long mini game. That
Right.
is
That leaves the rest of the crew out.
everyone
Yeah.
everyone else goes to play FIFA 2000,
All right.
so in the other room, true story. So while the decker plays for an hour, so it's problematic. For example, one rule set which solves this problem is Zaibatsu by Zoser Games, which is a Cepheus game, and you have a very quick card mechanic. You're playing cards with a referee for about 5 minutes, and you handle the hack, and no one goes to play FIFA 2000, so it's better.
That's funny. Cool. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you ever played Netrunner?
Not. I played a decker in Shadowrun. I usually run Shadowrun as a game master,
Mm.
but
There's
I
a
once played decker. It's quite difficult to handle the deckers in some of the editions because sometimes they're very strictly defined and sometimes they're not. Newer editions are much less clearly defined. So what can you hack and what can't you hack is sometimes difficult to adjudicate.
I see.
I'm also playing some fantasy games. It's very easy to find players for Dungeons and Dragons.
Mm.
But I prefer OSR games like Old School Essentials (OSC).
Mm-hmm.
I prefer it because some of the new Dungeons and Dragons are the fifth edition, for example, is a bit too forgiving to players, I think. But I also play it. I play a lot of both fantasy and science fiction.
Cool. What's your favorite sci-fi? Yeah, well, other than your personal brand, do you have another favorite sci-fi engine? I guess the cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk Classic Traveller, of
Mm-hmm.
course. Three-book Classic Traveller. I think it works best in the first three books or in the Traveller book, both from the 70s and the 80s. And of course, other Cepheus systems are also excellent.
What's your favorite
Uh,
fantasy system?
my favorite fantasy system right now is Shadow Dark. It's a D20 system, but with older school sensibilities. It was funded by Kickstarter very successfully last year. I think I'm preparing to run a campaign in it. Something in a mega dungeon and old school play, but with a lot of coolness in it. It also had a magic system which is a bit similar to how I handle magic in the Swords of Cepheus.
Do you have social media or where can people
I have
join
web.
join your community?
I have a Facebook page. I'll send it to you.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll post it in the comment section or the description of the video.
and I have a web page.
And Discord.
Discord as well. 1 second, I will send also the link.
Great. I'll link all of those things in the description of the video so people can find you.
Great.
And of course, they can look you up also on Drive Through RPG.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And even on Zazzle, the merchandise store,
Oh,
you could get high quality maps of our settings,
oh, cool.
for example, and mugs with our symbols and things like that.
Oh, that's awesome. I was going to say, Zazzle's imprinting service.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
So we have a store even there. You could find it through our webpage.
Great. We'll link all those things in the description so people can find them. Great.
All right.
Fantastic. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I think we've come to the end of the interview.
You're welcome.
And I wish you the best in the upcoming year. And hopefully next year we'll hear about all your great accomplishments again.
Thank you very much.
Thanks again for joining us for the 6th annual Traveller Mayday Mayday event. I appreciate your participation. Thanks a lot. My guest today has been Omer Golan-Joel of Stellagama Publishing, makers of Cepheus Deluxe, Terra Arisen, Sword of Cepheus, and Barbaric. Thank you, Omer, and thank you, dear listener. Until next time, happy traveling. Don't fly solo through the galaxy. Click like to join our alliance. Subscribe for your crew pass, and enable notifications to never miss an encounter. This journey is fueled by my patrons. Thank you, patrons. Feel the thrill of discovery. Become a patron and join the adventure.